Here we go. We got a 2015 Crosstrek with about 120-ish thousand miles on it. There's no warranty on this repair. Vehicle came in with transmission codes, lockup, duty solenoid, and the valve body is shot. We got to replace the valve body. Customer also complained about the washer fluid reservoir. Light always being on, saying it was low even though it was full. And we got to replace the tank assembly to replace that sensor. We're also going to do a 100% fluid exchange out of this transmission at the end of it. So let's get to the point. This turned it out to be about 3 hours for the video. I condensed it down to about an hour and 20 minutes, and then I realized I'm just going to put this on 4x speed, put some background music on, and do a voiceover. By the way, if nobody enjoys my music, just note that I am going to suffer through all of it with you because I have to watch this entire 20-minute sequence listening to this bad royalty-free music. We're using my favorite tool in the toolbox. I call it the comment generator. You guys hate me using this spray one, but I love it to pieces. It's made by Milton. I use it to just turn a gallon of water into a sandblaster. It's totally safe. What you just saw me do was I threw those battery terminal connectors into a pool of acid cleaner. Customer just doesn't have the money to get new OE connectors, and I'm going to try and do what I can to save what's little left of them. To get to this valve body, you don't have to take that throttle body off. I just wanted to make sure that it was clean. What I'm basically doing is I'm getting all the interfering hardware out of the way. I had to get the pitch stop mount removed. I had to get the mount bracket removed. I got to get the blanket off of the transmission. There's going to be some connectors I got to disconnect. Always make sure you got your battery disconnected before you start unplugging stuff. And most importantly is this valve body does sit on top of the transmission, which is a blessing. But keep in mind, that is going to be a open door policy for dirt and debris. So blast this area very clean, even if you got to go pressure wash this area. So whatever garbage you have on your hood and whatever garbage you have in your engine bay is going to get in that transmission. Checking on that connector, just scrubbing it clean. Gonna give it another blast with the wand. Try and just knock all that junk out. This thing was just crudted up, and I was just getting to the point where I was just gonna buy a connector myself. I was getting really, really mad at cleaning this thing. The acid solution had just obliterated all the protective coating on it. It was just a rotten piece of copper after that. If you're not confident in your cleaning skills for an engine bay, well, if you buy the OE valve body from Subaru, it's going to come with this big plastic tarp that you can lay over the engine bay and lay over the hood of the vehicle, and it has a cutout just for the valve body. I don't recommend using it because it takes just as long to set up as it does to remove this valve body. Now the bolts that I'm taking out of the valve body to loosen it up, If you don't know which ones to rip out, well, then just look at your new part and figure it out, okay? There's holes in it where the bolts have to transfer. I'm laying down an oil soak pad because when I pull this valve body out, it is going to hold about half a quart of oil. And I don't want that in the engine bay. Okay, in that cavity, there's a couple of O-rings you got to change out. Your parts counter will tell you which ones you need. We're going to put the new gasket on, and there's going to be 2 spots where some engine glue needs to be put, or just basic 3-bond. And that's where the creases are at in the case half. Alright, gingerly put the new one in. Grab your bolts and start hand threading them in. I stress the point, hand thread them in, please. You need to line everything up before you start sinking them in. Okay, we're going to torque down these suckers. The torque is not very tight at all. It is drain pan tight, so that's about the 7 Newton meter territory. I like using a beam wrench for these really low torque values because to get a torque wrench in the 1/4 inch range that can do that low of torque value without drifting is about $400 or $500. But I can get a beam wrench for about $30. Think about it. Now I bet you there's somebody out there who's Googling on the Harbor Freight and on Amazon, and they're going to tell me that they found a 1/4 inch clicker for $50. Yeah, I got that one too. I'm going to tell you, if you set that sucker up for about 7 Newton meters and you start torquing down bolts, about 1 out of 10 you're going to snap the head off of. Something in that mechanism does not let those bolts, something in the mechanism of the torque wrench, I don't know why, but if you go slow trying to creep up on the torque, it will not engage. You have to have like a certain speed to it. It's really, really weird, and that's why I'm just saving up for the digital one, because I've had all that problems with my clickers in the super low torque range. If anybody's still doubting me about this clicker and they are still searching for clickers, trying to prove me wrong, show me what they have, you know what? I'm going to challenge you this. Mail me your 1/4 inch clicker. I'm going to set it to 7 newtons, and I'm going to start snapping some heads off of bolts. I'm going to show you how that clicker doesn't work correctly. And if it does work correctly, I'll buy it from you. Alright, I've already made a reassembly mistake. You'll notice I didn't put the blanket on the transmission right away. So now I got all that stuff in my way. I'll fix it later on. Also is, make sure you get all your ground wires hooked up in the correct spot where you took them off. It's very, very, very important. I cannot stress that enough. Put your grounds back where you took them off. Just don't put them anywhere. Now I'm just really fighting a 10 mil, trying to get it on the side of the transmission and hold down that blanket. I think I just had an alignment error. Now we're moving on to the washer fluid tank. That neck piece that I took off, that does transfer to the new assembly. Just got to get some bumper clips out of here. If you break any of the bumper clips, they always have them in stock in the parts department. Always use the OE clips. This is whatever you can when putting bumper clips back on, because you don't want that bumper to be misaligned or be partially falling off and have a car wash rip it off. I see it a lot. People just try and use universal plastic rivets, and then they come in, their bumper's ripped off. I got the wheel well, I got the wheel arch molding. The wheel liner. The wheel liner's just doing a partial remove. Got a bungee cord pulling it back. Keep really good note of which hose goes to which of those washer pumps. If it's got a washer pump for the front jets and a washer pump for the rear jet. I'm going to make a mistake about that later on. You'll see me fix it. What is this all about? You're supposed to be my morning glory. Don't wake me up to stay down. We're just doing a partial pullback of the bumper here. Just take what clips you need to get out of it. If you need to take out more clips to get more room, fine. There's only 3 10mm nuts holding this washer assembly in there. It comes out very, very easy. You can see where all the nuts are at on the bottom, and then you just kind of find the correct tool to extract them out. Those rubber grommets, they are transferred from the older one, from the old unit. That's what my water jet pumps are going to go into. What is this all about? You're supposed to be my morning glory. Just go ahead and get all the hardware in halfway on each of them, and once you have everything lined up properly, go ahead and send it home. It's not a fantasy, baby. I know we hang with another girls, but it doesn't mean I don't want you, girl. Since first day we met you, baby. I'm willing to bet after watching this video now, if I would have taken the wheel off, or at least turned it all the way left, I might have had a little bit more room to play with. I can tell you right now, I did not leave a good breadcrumb trail for putting those washer motors back in. I'm kind of just best guessing which hose goes where, and with the knowledge that I'm just going to have to go back and fix it later. Alright, just only add enough washer fluid, what you need to do a function check. If you fill that sucker up all the way and you got to move one of those motors, well, you're going to have to drain 1.5 gallons of fluid out of there. Cleaning up more battery terminals. There was nothing good to say about these battery terminal connectors. I did what I could for this guy. got plenty of other videos where I keep mentioning this about my battery tie-down brackets. Folks, put your battery tie-down brackets in just a little loose. And when I say that, think of it like your tennis shoe when you're about to go running or hiking or go to the gym. If you tie that tennis shoe as tight as you can, when your foot warms up and it starts swelling up from exercising and walking or hiking, it's going to hurt. Same thing goes for batteries. Batteries just swell up a little bit when they're under use, when they get warm from being in the engine bay. So leave that little bit of gap. And same goes for these battery terminal connectors. Hand tools only. Okay, knock it off with the power tools. You're ruining all the clamps. Let's see where this battery terminal connector spray gets. Yeah, I got dirty hands. Looking for my cleaning wipes. All right, I got the water jets backwards. I gotta fix it. Oh, here's the new comment generator I think that you're all going to hate me using. This is not a transmission flush machine. This is a transmission fluid exchanger. This machine intercepts one line on the transmission. Okay? And when old fluid runs through it, because all the fluid is being pumped by the transmission right now, by the power of the transmission, the machine is not doing any pumping. When fluid is pumped from the transmission to the machine has a bladder scale, and it will release the correct amount of fluid that was brought to it. So think of it like dialysis for your transmission. It is super awesome. I love it. And we are changing out 125% of the transmission fluid. So not only are we getting all the old stuff, but we are recapturing some of the new stuff. The first stage we do is it's called a cleaner. We run it in the transmission for 10 minutes. And when we're all done, we're going to be putting in a conditioner, which is going to help out with neutralizing any of the cleaner that might have been left in there, but shouldn't be in there. But, you know, we like to play it safe. And it's also going to help with adding like a friction modifier to that transmission. As you can see through that sight glass, that fluid is cleaned up very, very good. What I'm waiting for right now is just that pop-up pin, call it the turkey popper, to come up out of the bladder and tell me that all the new fluid has been used up. All right, the pin's up, fluid looks good. I like it. Now we're going to add the conditioner to it. Okay, that's done. We can put away the machine. I can disconnect everything. Okay, I got the car lifted in the air. We're using the ThinkCar Diag 2. We're going to do a transmission relearn. This is a super powerful tool for $120. It is doing dealer level relearn procedures. I'm amazed by it. Alright, the relearn's done. Now I'm going to set up the tool to monitor some data PIDs while I go take it for a test drive. The data PIDs that I want to be monitoring is I'm monitoring my miles per hour. I'm monitoring my lockup duty solenoid. I have my gear ratio in there, and I believe also engine RPM. This post-check procedure after doing a transmission relearn is very, very critical. This is not written in any of the textbooks for the service. It's not written in any of the service manuals. It's not written in any of the schoolhouse books. This is a big pro tip that comes from the engineers themselves that I spoke with them personally. They call this the torque converter relearn. And the torque converter relearn involves driving the car up to a maximum 30 miles an hour. You want a full lockup on the duty duty solenoid for the transmission, so 99% or above is just fine. Once you hit that, take your foot off the accelerator. You want to coast until you have 0% lockup, come to a nice stop, and rinse and repeat the process. 3 to 4 times is all you need to do it. The whole purpose of this process is to set a standard for the TCM in its learning procedures, in its algorithm. So when the customer gets the car already has a baseline for learning, and then the customer can do whatever they want with it. You know, they can drive it like a jerk, they can granny it all the way around. Doesn't matter. I gave it a nice non-biased learning procedure. Okay, here we are at the car wash at my shop. All cars get washed, and every car that I work on, I also clean up the engine bay a little bit. So I'm going to spray it down with just a little bit of soap, wash off anything that I might have left in there, and then we're going to get the low pressure power washer. See, I can spray my hand with it, it doesn't hurt. And we're just going to rinse everything off. It's very important to clean your engine bays. It makes your customer happy when you show them what kind of work you did. That's it, folks. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe to the channel. Leave comments. I'll answer them, as always. Have a good day.